All right. Welcome again to Ask Ade Live Wednesday edition, and I hope that you are having a great time. Where are you joining us from? Where are you? Let's look. Where are you joining us from? I am in Cornwall, Ontario, and it's 5 p.m. Eastern Time here. I wonder where you are joining us from. I would like to know. Do that in the comments. Let me type something in the comment. Hello. It's hi. Yes. So let me know that you're there. I would not know that you're there if you don't say hello. Alrighty. It is fall, and I'm so glad to see all the beautiful colors. And today is exceptionally warm here. It's about 20 degrees right now. That is a beautiful thing. And I know that we are having the last beautiful temperature until a while. So it's going to get colder and colder. So for those who are in the warm part of the world, yes, send some warmth here. For those who are in the evening, good evening, morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are in the world, the Lord bless you. I'm so glad to have you here. Today we're going to consider the third part of a series that I started on Monday for men, husbands who wants to really change your marriage. Your marriage is already struggling. You're thinking of divorce. You're hearing the word divorce, not that you want a divorce, but separation is there, it's being thrown around. Your wife is already sleeping in another room. She is saying she's taking days off. She wants time off. You want a change. This is the series for you. I am considering the series where I try to help marriages that are really struggling towards the end of the year, because I know I was reading online somewhere and I heard the slang that January is the divorce month, and I don't want that to be you. And for those who are in relationship that are struggling, the reason why January happens to be the divorce month is that people who want to start the year right, they just figure that, you know what, I've had enough. I'm tired of trying to make this work. Maybe I should just put it behind me. And so in January, you will find a lot of wives saying, you know what, I want to stop this. Let this stop. Let this pain stop. And that's why January happens to be a divorce month. There's another month that has high levels of divorce also, or filing, and that would be August. So when people have been on holidays and they're wrapping up their holidays, they figure that, you know what, I enjoyed being away from this tyrant or this person that has been giving me a lot of problems, and I would like to have the peace of mind. And so August and January are not the best months for people who are already struggling in their marriage. And I want to turn January into a good month for you. That's why I'm doing this series, and I would stick with it for the rest of this month, October, and the whole of January. I will be addressing men who want to change their marriage after they realize that it is struggling a lot. So I'm not just going to be sharing stuff that you can use to improve your marriage and stabilize your marriage if you're doing well already. I'm going to be sharing stuff that you can use to quickly turn your marriage around. I started on Monday. We've done two parts of this series, and this is the third part. And I'm going to be answering questions a lot, and that's why it's slower. I will answer more questions on Friday. But today, I want to share with you three things that you must change. 3 things that you must change if you want your marriage to be repaired. And if you do this, you will see a transformation in your marriage very quickly. So the title is Last Chance for Your Marriage: What Christians Husbands Can Do Right Now. what Christian husbands can do right now. Last chance for your marriage. Let's get to prayer. Let's start with prayer. My Father, my King, I thank you for this opportunity to share with your children, my brothers, those who are struggling in their marriage. Their marriage is almost broken and they don't want to lose it. They are saying to me, is there hope? Can I do something that will change my marriage? Father, I pray that they will hear a resounding yes in their minds today, in their hearts today. Yes, you can do something. Yes, the Lord Almighty can help you. May faith arise in everyone who watches this to know that there are things that you have put in place to save their marriage, to turn things around. What the enemy meant for evil, that you are willing to turn it for good. Lord, let that be so. And in any other areas where there have been struggles, I pray that healing will come in Jesus' mighty name. Amen. So quickly, I want to start from scriptures today. And this scripture is a very precious one to me. It's Romans chapter 8, verse 28. I'm going to read that to you. And I want to encourage you. Wherever you are in the world, going through this challenging time in your marriage, I want to encourage you that it does not have to be all bad. You can trust God to turn things around. Verse 28 of Romans chapter 8 says, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. That's the New International Version of that. And we know that in all things, even in this difficult time in your marriage, where your wife is no longer talking with you, where your wife is talking about moving out, where your wife is talking about divorce, when your wife has completely ignored you, she doesn't even respond to you, God can work in this situation for the good of you because you love him and you have been called according to his purpose. It is important that you remember that you're not struggling alone. You're not alone. You belong to God. You belong to God, and God wants to work in you. You belong to God, and God wants to work in you and work with you. So remember that. And when you know that, then it opens your heart to learn more. So let's quickly run through what we have learned in the first two parts. The first thing that we did was I share with you why your wife is saying, I don't want to be married to you anymore. Why is she wanting to move away from you and break this relationship? I shared that with you. It's because she's hurt. It's because she feels that she has a better chance of having a good life, a fruitful life, a peaceful life without you, compared to being with you. She has chosen in her mind, or decided in her mind, that being alone, which she doesn't want to be, being alone is better. Or she may be blessed to find another person along the way. But one thing she's sure about is that she would rather take her chances that she would be alone rather than be with you. And that is a bad thing. It's a very sad thing, and you don't want to think like that. But if you know that, then you can change things around, because you can then say, you know what, I'm going to make it worth a while. If she's still in the home, then you are blessed, because you can then say, you know what, I want her to know that it is better to be with me than to be alone. All right. So we talk a lot at length about that. Please do not miss that video. It's a very fundamental video. It shows you the steps and the details of how your marriage got to where it is right now. If you don't know why two people who love each other so much that they involve their families and called their friends to come together, and they professed their love to one another and vowed to live with each other for the rest of their lives. How did they now become so broken and they don't want to see each other? I explained that in the first video. Now, yesterday in the second video, I explained how you can reverse the words that your wife has, the picture. You begin the process of transforming and changing the picture that your wife has about you. She has a picture in her mind of you as a problem to her. She has a picture in her mind of the fact that being with you is not the best for her. Now, in some weird and rare cases, your wife may be trying to break up with the mindset that because she thinks that she is a problem, but that's very rare. I've never helped anybody that in that, but I've heard it where a wife says, you know what, I'm a mess. I've done so many bad things, and this man has been kind, and I don't want to continue to hurt him, and then she walks away. I've never seen that in person, but I have heard that. Now, very rarely does that happen. In most cases, 99% of the cases, and 100% in my own case, from my own experience, and I've talked to hundreds, the situation is that she feels that she's better off, she's safer, she'll be more productive, more fruitful without you. Even when she knows that she's going to lose some income, or she knows that she's going to have to take care of children alone, or she's going to be alone, she still feels that it is better off that she stays alone. All right. So now, what then? How do you then speak to her to reverse that feeling, that image that she has of you? We talked about that yesterday. And it is communicating that I love you. So you speak the opposite of the fear that she has, which is the fear that she will continue to suffer and be hurt by you, and eventually left alone and abandoned. That all this work that she's doing is going to end up being wasted, and she's going to be left alone. And she's not only going to be left alone, she'll be hurt. So we talked about the communication that you need to put in place, not by words, but by actions to change that. Right? So today, and then I'm going to move on from that. And once you've communicated with her, your wife, saying, you know what, I see my wrong. I know now that I've been ignorant of your pain, and I've not focused on your pain and focused on what you've been telling me. I may not have heard it properly, but I'm interested in hearing it, and I want you to know that I'm committed to being a blessing to you and to being with you for the rest of my life. I'm committed to that. And so I am learning to change my life, and I'm learning to be that man that can help you and stand with you, love you, to becoming the person, the best version of you that God designed. So this is what you want to say. You could say it with words, but you want to demonstrate it. Now, the moment you say that, then because you have given your words, you then need to commit yourself to these 3 changes that I'm going to talk about today. 3 changes that you must commit to and put your best effort into achieving. Once you achieve those 3 things, and or while as you are trying to achieve those 3 things, you will be sending a signal to your wife that you are changing. And as soon as she can see that you are changing for you, not because you want her to come back into the marriage, you are golden. When I talk about the desire to get your wife back that leads you to so many mistakes, the moment you hear this big news that she doesn't want to stay in the marriage anymore, many people run into panic mode and try to fix the problem. And they fix it by trying to make sure that no one knows that they have the marriage is struggling, no one knows that the marriage is failing, and they're thinking about how all the good things that the wife has been doing that they're going to miss out on. And in rare cases, they recognize some of the things that the wife is not doing right and they've been complaining about, but they figure that, you know what, I could have stayed with that in the light of some of the beautiful things that I heard from her before. And so you can run into panic mode and start begging her to stay with you. And that only emphasizes the fact that you are selfish, self-centered, and all you're thinking about is yourself and not her. So you don't want to do that. Because if you keep saying to her, I'm selfish, self-centered, I don't care about the pain you're talking about, I don't care about the fear that you're talking about, I'm only concerned about how people address us, what happens to me, and how I can cope without you. That is a clear way to say, yes, she was right, you are a very self-centered person. So we don't want to do that. We want to communicate the truth. And you may be very self-centered, selfish, and rude and mean, and you may have been operating in the flesh. I did a series on that, working in the spirit and working in the flesh. You need to check my videos. It will help you a lot. And so maybe you discover that, and she's right. And it's really better off for her to be away from you. And there are people like that I've met. When I listen to them and all the things that they've been saying, I can understand why the wife was saying, you know what, I don't want to be with you. And then she may feel relieved because there are some men that are very, very demanding and very controlling and never pleased, and they complain all the time. And when the wife gets a break, she feels so good. Now we want to turn that around. So there are three things that you must change. You must commit to changing to get her to know that you're really making a transformation. You're changing not for her, but for you. And if she taps into your change, then she may benefit. So we want her to start to think that, you know what, if this guy is really changing for good, then I may consider going back to him. That's what you want to start with. And you don't need to worry that she may go or she may not come back or things like that. If you're still worried about that, you're still very selfish and self-centered. You're still thinking about you. You got to get to the point where you know that even if she goes, that's all right, because you have been a dangerous person, and no sane wife should be married to you. You need to agree that. Or you need to agree that, you know what, I've not been a bad person, but my weaknesses are too much to put on her. And since she cannot handle my weakness and she wants to go, then it is better for her so that she doesn't continue to suffer and be in pain. You must get to that point. That's where you want to be at when you are working on this. That, okay, I understand that I've been mean, I've been foolish, and I've been uncaring, but now I want to change and I want to do what it takes. That's where you want to be. And you're going to say, well, and if she is still available when I'm done, or as I change and she wants to give me another opportunity, then praise be to God, that's what I want. Praise be to God, that's what I want. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about. So let's look at 1 John chapter 4, verse 16. We've been looking at that scripture all week long. 1 John chapter 4, verse 16. We're going to look at what the Lord has designed for us to enjoy when it comes to marriage and love. A lot of people don't understand these things, and we operate in selfish, self-centered ways, and it just causes us more harm. All right? So 1 John chapter 4, from verse 16, I'm going to read it to you. Just give me a second to open it up here. 1 John chapter 4 and verse 16. I'm reading in the New International Version. I will change it a little bit later. And so we know and rely on the love God has for us. And so we know and rely on the love God has for us. If you don't understand God's love for you, you are not going to be able to love properly. So the first thing that we're going to change is to rewrite the way you do your love. The way you do relationships must move away from that demand-based style to a love-based style. And I'm going to explain what that means in a minute. But I want to show it to you in scripture. And we know and rely on God's love for us. God is love. Whoever lives in God And whoever loves, and whoever lives in love lives in God, and God in them. God is love. Whoever lives in love lives in God, and God in them. This is how love is made complete amongst us, so that we will have confidence on the day of judgment. In this world, we are like Jesus. In this world, we are like Jesus, who loved us, and of course, we know he loved us and gave his life for us. Romans chapter 5. Now here, the first thing I want you to learn, and that you must learn, is to stop this demand-based relationship where you're always demanding your wife to be somehow, do something, or refrain from something for you to be happy and to be at peace. You need to cook the food in the house. You are the woman, you need to cook. If you're not cooking, there's going to be hell. I'm going to give you trouble. I'm going to call you names, and I'm going to complain. I'm not going to be at peace until you cook for me. Or you need to do the laundry the same time I do them, or do them the way I like you to do them. If not, I'm going to just complain and complain and complain. You have to obey me and listen to my ideas, because I'm the man of the family. And if you don't, I'm not going to be happy, and I'm going to make your life miserable. You need to respect my family. If you don't respect my family, I'm going to be mad, and I'm going to throw tantrums until you do so. Now, if you continue in this demand-based style, you're going to break the marriage, because that's not the kind of love that God designed marriages to be built on. The foundation for marriage must be freedom, God's kind of love. Now, demand-based relationship is dangerous for all relationships. Yes, demand-based relationship is dangerous for all relationships. For example, I got a call from a friend yesterday. I've not spoken with this brother for, I can guess it, 4 years or 5 or maybe more. And then he calls me in out of the blues, and I pick up. Well, I didn't pick up because I was in the meeting. And then I called him back, and he says to me, yes, I have something I need to really discuss with you. And I said, how urgent? He says, as urgent as possible. But then he was I couldn't talk to him right there, because he had to attend to an issue, because I was the one that called him. And he said he's going to call me back. So he calls me back. By the time he calls me back, I'm already in another program, and I'm already doing something else. And then I couldn't pick up, so I texted him. I said, is it good to meet sometime tomorrow at noon, which is today? I never got a response. And at noon I called, I never got a response. Now, what is going on there? I don't know. And I really don't need to know the details. But why am I sharing this with you? Imagine if that brother is mad at me that I didn't listen to him at the time that he had an urgent need. This is my friend. Why wouldn't he stop whatever he's doing to attend to me when I have an urgent need? He can do that. That's a demand-based relationship. If he decides that I'm not going to call you anymore, I'm not going to, well, he's not been calling me for 5 years. I'm not going to talk to you. I'm not going to call you my friend, because when I needed you, you didn't show up. That's demand-based, and you're demanding my attention, you're demanding my energy, you're demanding my time, and that if I don't do that, you're not going to be happy. If you bring that into any relationship, that relationship is broken. It doesn't grow. It dies eventually, because it's all about you. Sometimes the person who is in a demand relationship can be very nice, can be very kind, but they are being kind with a mindset that you reciprocate that. They are being very polite with a mindset that you reciprocate that. The moment you become rude, which you may not notice that you are being rude, or maybe you just have that bad habit, and one day they call you and you're rude to them, they may never call you back again. It's demand-based. And people who have been learning this life of making demands and thinking that the only way I can be at peace and joyful is when everybody treats me well, And if someone really loves me, they're going to be kind to me. If someone really loves me, they're going to listen to me. If someone really loves me, they're going to make sacrifices for me. And then they don't do that and you become very frustrated. That is demand based. You got to put it out. You got to put it out and understand this truth. God is love. Whoever lives in love lives in God and God in them. So operating by love is not an option. It is your style. It is your default. Just like God is love, and as such, He loves always. We are the children of love. We can love always, which means whether she's rude, whether she's kind, whether she's unfaithful, whether she's disrespectful to you, to your parents, to your neighbors, wasteful financially, whatever the case, you continue to be kind. You continue to be nice. You continue to be yourself, your real God child self. The one who is in the image of God. You live in that nature all through, regardless of what she does. Now, I don't expect that because you've watched this video, you're just going to be able to do that. That's why you need a coach. A coach helps you to be and hit the goal that you want to hit. This is one goal that you want to hit, where you are no longer demanding love, but you're rather watching and experiencing your spouse how she is. You're saying, I'm waiting from this moment, just observe my wife, see how she is. And what I do though to help you do that, we have what we call the love experiment. 7 days of love experiment. And you should search my channel and you'll find the love experiment there. Please take advantage of it, where you learn to observe. You learn to not make any demands, no request, no complaining, no correction, no complaining. So that's what you need to do. That's the first thing that you need to learn. There are other things that you need to do to hit that goal, where you're no longer a demand-based relationship person. You are now love-based. That means you are here to give, you're here to serve, you're here to accept and care, regardless of how the other person treats you. The only reason why you will not be able to do that is if they refuse to receive it. If they don't want your love, then there's nothing you can do. You can release them. But as long as they're there with you, you determine not to be based on demand. You're not demanding. Now, if you're blessed with a woman who loves you, who's responding to you, kind to you, then you're blessed, and you can still work on this. Because so some men, they discovered that they're trying their best. They thought that everything was going well, so it's not like you know that you're hurting your wife, but then suddenly she begins to say these things, and so you are at the point now that you have not been complaining, but she's been complaining, and you've not changed stuff. So you're at that point where you're saying, okay, I love you and I will continue to love you, but I don't know what you are hurt about, and I'm going to be willing to figure that out and work with you on it. So it's not everyone that is in this situation that has been doing something that they know is wrong to their wife. Sometimes you don't know it. You're just absent-minded. So you come from work, you sit on, you are so stressed, you just want to relax. So you put on the show, the soccer or whatever show you like, or put on your game console and you play, and she's feeling neglected and she's complaining, and you're saying, you know what, I will do the different. So you're not mean, you're just not observant. And so at the end of the day, she is feeling neglected, and then she gives you notice that, you know what, if you don't need me, I'm going to walk away. Maybe I should just go. Now, when you hear that, you may be, that's why you're watching this. And as you're watching this, I'm saying to you, you need to say to yourself, okay, I don't want to be in the demand-based marriage. So here she is, she's in pain, she's struggling, and she wants to leave. And Adi has been telling me the key is not to beg her, the key is to listen to her. So you're going to then say, you know what, it's not about what she does for me or what she doesn't do, it's about what she's feeling. So you're going to say to her, I see that this means a lot to you. I thought that we're doing well, but obviously we are not doing well. Can you tell me more about how you feel? You've told me before. You remind her that you said, I'm not so attentive. Is there more? When you are in the space and you're speaking like that, it's because you're not demanding anything. You're choosing to bless her and serve her regardless of what she does or she doesn't do. So it doesn't matter if you have never complained. Yes, this point, you don't complain. Maybe you've never complained. Maybe you've never really said or done anything mean to her. She's just complaining because she didn't get our expectations, even when those expectations are not really right. Yes, if you want the marriage, this is how you must respond and say, okay, I see that you need something. I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. It is important that any marriage gets to this point where the one partner is willing to do what it takes to restore the marriage. That means somebody is willing to break the cycle of the demand and failure. You can make demands and meet it sometimes, but you will always fail sometimes, and the person is going to be heartbroken regardless of how much you try. That's why a lot of people say, I'm trying my best. She said this, I tried it. She said that, I did it. She said that, I did that. And now she still wants to leave. I'm tired. I don't want to keep running around like this. Yes, you are right. If she's a complaining person and she just keeps complaining, you will feel the pain of it. You'll feel the weight of it. And to correct that, all you have to do is say, you know what? I hear you. You're complaining about that. Can you tell me more? I want to know more. Because you're dealing with not demanding. You want to be that man who is listening and who is receiving from her. Now, the other two things will help you deal with the heart that's always complaining, and you know that those complaints are not good. So the next two steps are going to help you with that. So we finished the first step, which is remove and stop the demand-based relationship style. The second one is stop being motivated by fear. Stop being motivated by fear. Last chance for your marriage. What Christian husbands can do right now. That's the topic. What can you do right now? What you must do right now is stop basing your actions on fear. Stop acting from a place of fear. And I'm going to read the next verse in 1 John chapter 4. And we're going to read verse 18 now. Verse 17. This is how love is made complete among us, so that we will have confidence on the day of judgment. In this world, we are like Jesus. In this world, we are like Jesus. There is no fear in love. There is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear, because fear has to do with punishment. The one who fears is not made perfect in love. So the key here is many times we act because we are afraid. We are afraid that the wife would leave us alone and we're going to struggle and die alone. No one wants to die alone. No one wants to complete this journey and be alone. I was reading somewhere where, I think in the book, where the guy says he worked in hospice, end of life place where people who are at the end of their lives go and they die. And each time he gets the opportunity to find out more from the people, that he has never found anyone that said, I wish I had more money. That he has never heard that. That was the statement. I've never seen anybody to say, I wish I worked more and had more money. But that what most people would say is that they wish they had more connections, more relationships, more memories, repented of certain things, helped certain people, things that are connected to relationship. And the reason why we struggle in relationships is because we are afraid that we will die alone. We are afraid that we will be alone. You may not see it as that. But if you look closely to it, you will discover that somewhere down within you, you hate being rejected. You don't want to be rejected. And so we make up these things that we do. So make sure the second thing that you need to change is learn not to depend, not to be motivated by fear. Decide that you will no longer be afraid of being alone. You'll no longer be afraid of the marriage breaking. You'll no longer be afraid of people knowing that you didn't know how to deal with marriage and your marriage is problematic, is having issues. You'll no longer be afraid that God will be mad at you because your marriage is not working. You decide that fear is not going to be your motivation anymore. Why? Because it says to us in verse 18 of 1 John chapter 4, there is no fear in love. So fear is the proof that the love that you have in your heart is not pure love. It is selfish love. So you work on that, so that you look at the marriage, you make up your mind that, you know what, if this is the end of the marriage, that's all right. I wish it's not, but if that is it, that is it. I didn't know what to do, but I'm learning. When you are in that space, you're going to send out a different kind of vibe to your wife. You're going to send out a different kind of feeling to her, which says that I know now how to work towards loving you, and I wish I can have you, but if not, I'm all right. I'll keep learning, and then if I find somebody else, I will marry them, and I'll be a blessing to you regardless. See, this is the space, this is a message you want to send out. But you can't say that out. You don't want to say that out. What you want to do instead is leave it out. Learn it. There are tools that we use to learn that. Of course, for you to have the kind of love that casts out fear, you need to have the confidence in God also. So we talk about connecting properly with God. If you have a question or you have a comment, you're watching this and it's triggering some thoughts in your mind, do not keep it to yourself. When you leave a comment, when you leave a question, you help others. All right. So I may explain more of this my next broadcast tomorrow. But let me go to the third point now. So the first point, stop this demand-based relationship style. Second point, don't let fear be your motivation. Think about the things you're afraid of and let them go. Let them go. Decide that, you know what, if the worst is going to happen, let it happen. I'm just going to trust God. The last one is release agape, love, into your marriage. We're going to talk about that briefly, and then we'll flesh those out tomorrow. So verse 19 now, we love because he first loved us. Whoever claims to love God, yet hates a brother or sister, is a liar. For whoever does not love their brother and sister whom they have seen cannot love God, whom they have not seen. And he has given us this command: anyone who loves God must also love their brother and sisters. So understanding that what love is important. And I found a book called Real Love by Greg Bear that really helped to define this. And in that book, he defined love in something like this. Not exactly, but something like this, that love is wanting the best for the other. I've modified it over the years because this is clearer to me. Love is desiring the best for the other without considering what you get for it or not. So that's what love is. When you choose then to release that into your marriage consistently, it turns your marriage around. Where you are seeking always to release kindness and the best, whatever you think or believe is the best for your wife, you choose to do it as long as she's willing to receive it. That is what you must do if you want to see your marriage changed. If you want to see your marriage transform very quickly, decide that from this day on, I'm going to learn how to desire the best for my wife, regardless of what she does or what she doesn't do. Right? Those are the three changes that you must make. Make those three changes and you will experience transformation. Of course, you cannot make them in one day, but you need to communicate that you are doing that. You're working on that. Number one, stop the demand-based relationship where you are saying, unless you do this, I'm not going to be happy. Stop it. The second one, stop doing things based out of fear. She's going to go meet somebody else, okay? She's going to be rude to me. All of that. Yes, she may do that, but that's not what motivates my action. What should motivate your action? Desiring the best. That's number 3. Desiring the best for her. What is best for your wife is to be completely aligned with God's will for her life. That she should know it and be aligned to it. Not that you force your thoughts on her and then force her to align to that. No, that the best thing is for her to be able to discern God's will for her life by herself and live it. So you commit to that and work towards that, and your life will be different. All right, so God bless you. I am so glad that you stayed till this point. If you are here and you watch this video up to this point and it has blessed you, don't forget to like it, subscribe to the channel, share it with anyone that needs it. And I have a friendship rebuilding cheat sheet, a 1-page PDF document that you can download for free from me, so that when you look at it, it reminds you of what you need to do to rebuild friendship in your marriage. And you can download that from adesobanja.com/friends, adesobanja.com/friends. It comes with a video, and of course the cheat sheet will remind you of the contents of the video at a glance. If you are in a very tight corner and you really want fast change, you know that what you're hearing sounds like what you need, and you want someone to stand with you to walk through it, that's what I'm here for. I'm a coach and I do that. So reach out to me at adesobanja.com/apply, adesobanja.com/apply. We're going to look through, it's a free call. We're going to look through your marriage, look through the things you're going through, draw up a strategy quickly, and if it is a good fit, I enroll you, I invite you and give you an opportunity to join my private coaching group or the group one. Whatever you need, we'll try to make it work. All right, so don't hesitate to reach out to me at adesobanja.com/apply. All righty, so nice having you with me. Don't forget, I want to see your questions and your comments, and until we meet again tomorrow, continue to love like Jesus and make mega impact. Bye for now.